We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 108 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It is wonderful to be back on a beautiful spring evening here in Portland, Oregon. It's finally not raining for a change. Or, you know, as we can tell you, like lately it's been like sun shining and then hail and then sun again and then rain. But it is an absolutely beautiful day today. And speaking of beautiful things, I'm joined by two very awesome people tonight. Sheep is out celebrating a special occasion, but I'm joined by my great friend Hydra. Welcome back. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing actually really, really well.
Considering?
I don't know. Considering after last week's episode, actually, I started feeling a little under the weather as the night went on. And come Saturday, I actually ended up testing positive for COVID.
RIP. Oh, I'm glad.
And I'm here. I'm doing okay. Saturday and Sunday and Monday were all a complete, just write off. Huge joke. I had crazy chills followed by fevers, and either I was freezing cold and I couldn't get warm enough, or I was so hot I couldn't shed enough clothes or blankets, and it was just terrible. At this point, I kind of just feel like I'm stuffed up and I've got a cold now, so it's getting a lot better. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here, and it's great to see you guys.
Yeah, we've got a very special guest joining us tonight. He's been here before, but it's been a little while. But I'm very, very excited. So we were talking about, hey, what do we talk about on this week's show? And Hydra says, hey, you'd really like to learn some Evenlock. And I thought, you know what? I know somebody who's really, really good at that deck. And so I'm so grateful to have you here tonight. Welcome back to the show, Rotted Zombie. Thank you so much for being here.
Is there another guest tonight? You said someone's here is good at Evenlock. Zing! I appreciate the invitation, and I'm happy to be back. It's really good to see you both. And it would be good to see Sheep, but he's out for his anniversary. So.
Yeah. Hey, special occasion, happy anniversary to our good friend Electric Sheep City. Yeah. And so, yeah. And for those of you not familiar with Rotted, you should be, but Rotted Zombie is just a wonderful, phenomenal, multi-legend Hearthstone player, member of Tempo Storm. We're big fans of the Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshots, member of Alpha Flight Gaming, of course, been a Rotted fanboy for a long, long time, and so always kind of geek out to get to hang out with you. It's very fun. So,
oh my stars! I appreciate that, and it is good to see you too, Nate. Beautiful Portland, Oregon. Spring would not be the same without your shining face.
Thank you,
or something like that. I don't know.
I'll take what I can get. It's been a long week, and so finally, get to decompress a little bit. I feel like we say that every week. Oh, this week has been so rough, but we made it through another one. But just happy to be here.
I could totally get used to this work from home thing, though. It's kind of nice.
I'm so jealous.
It was kind of sweet. I brought my computer from work home, and I got all set up, and I didn't have to deal with the day-to-day stress of things happening actually at the workplace. Right? So my phone would ring or I'd get a Teams message, and I'd be like, well, you can just go and talk to so-and-so because I'm not in the office.
Exact voice, right?
Exactly. That is exactly what I did.
So working from home, I have a question for you, Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
How much Hearthstone are you playing while you're supposed to be working?
Edit, how much Diablo was I playing?
Oh!
Just kidding.
Just kidding. I'm sure you're working to the fullest extent of whatever you're supposed to do.
What you mean is, hypothetically, if you were to play Diablo while you're supposed to be at work, that's the beauty of having two monitors, right?
There's currently 4 set up right now.
What could you possibly have on all those monitors?
And I'm level 91 hammered in right now on the ladder.
I love it.
Excuse me, mister.
Just saying.
I don't know what I would do with all that free time. It would be great. I could actually sleep once in a while. And
no, it was honestly just kind of refreshing to be able to buckle down on. Like, you ever have all this stuff that you need to be doing, but there's so many people around you at work that are distracting you from, like, hey, I'm going to do these 10 things today, right? But so much other stuff is happening that you don't get to do those. I finally got to do that list of things.
That's why I'm going into work on the weekend. Unfortunately.
It was really nice to be able to actually do those things. So
Good. Well, I'm happy that you're on the mend too. I didn't think you were going to make it tonight, man, but I'm very happy that you're here. So
there was parts of me that was really worried that maybe I wouldn't be better by now, but to be honest, it's gone a lot smoother than I thought. The worst is over, and like I said, at this point, I kind of feel like I just have a cold. I'm sneezing and coughing and just sort of stuffed up, but doing really well. So let's move on with the show. I just gonna give a little bit of a show format for everyone. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. And let me briefly explain how the show works. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are then distributed to all podcast apps. However you're watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis. This podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much to everybody, especially those of you who are here in chat interacting with us live. It's really great to see you. We always have a lot of fun. Real quick before we get into the main topic of the show, I wanted to say a very quick but thank you, a quick but important thank you to Shokunin and to the other patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us, and we really appreciate you. If you're out there, you enjoy this content, and you're interested in supporting us, you can leave a like, follow, subscribe on our YouTube stuff, just because it helps people find us. Another real easy way to help is to leave a review on your podcast app of choice, whether it's Google Podcasts or Amazon or iTunes, Spotify, whatever it is. Again, that just helps other folks find us. If you're watching live on Twitch, we do have some emotes that you can unlock. Some by following. There's free ones that you can get by following. There's others that you can unlock by subscribing, which is free with Amazon Prime, if you want to do that. I actually wanted to say a giant thank you to Rotted, because I met our artist, Christina, through you. Christina Oe did the emotes for Rotted, which is how I found her in the first place, and she is incredible. She's done there's 7 emotes that we have here. She's working on 4 more right now that should be done in about a week.
Oh yeah.
And she's done 5, 6, 7 different like giant pieces of artwork for us, and she's incredible.
She's even facilitated me buying my wife an amazing gift, actually. So
Really?
yes.
Oh.
Well, thank you for that connection.
It's a very sweet story. Yeah. She's done some great artwork, and she's incredible. And I would not have ever met her without learning about her from you. And so she's been amazing to work with. And anyhow,
happy to have been of service.
Yeah, thanks. I loved your emotes, and it was like, who did those? So anyways, yeah. Finally, if you're interested in supporting the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There's one other thing actually that I should probably share. We finally got our merch stuff back set up, and so I'll put the link in chat. I'll put it's up on our show notes if anyone is interested in checking it out. In the past, like we had a shop. Wildcard and his wife were running it, but then their shop went offline, and so I was looking for other places, and just the quality kept sucking. I must have tried 3, 4, 5 different places, and the quality was always terrible. Finally found a place that I'm really happy with, and so I ordered a test first to make sure that it was good, and I'm really happy with it. And so yeah, here, this is artwork from Christina, but if I only stand up and y'all can see it, but this is our,
I love this one. That's the one with the Hydra, the the wolf and the sheep. I love that art. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun. But I was worried about how the colors would come out on the shirt. They came out great. Washed it. Like I got an extra large and it was a little bit too big. But it shrank a tiny bit and now it fits really nice. Maybe I can lose a little bit of weight and I can get a smaller size next time. But I'm really happy with how they all turned out. So if anybody's interested, the links to chat, I'll put it up on our website this weekend. It's in the show notes. But anyways, finally, one other plug was just if you're interested in interacting with any of us personally, please join our Discord. It's free. It's just an online community where we've made a bunch of friends all across the world. We share deck lists and news. We share battle tags. We've got a whole channel with funny usernames, which are great. There's some really funny ones in there, and all kinds of stuff, tier lists and questions. And anyways, the links to all that stuff is on our website, borntobewildhs.com. So if you go there, you can get links to all that stuff, and we would love to hang out with y'all. Yeah. All right. And then one other plug. Normally Sheep would do this, but Sheep is out today. We have just started up season 5 of our listener series. Yeah. If you're not familiar with that, what it is it's a multi-week wild tournament series with custom deck building restrictions each week. It's absolutely free to play in, and we just got started, so this is week 1. And this season we're doing things a little bit differently. So rather than kind of more random challenges, this season has a theme. So we were going along with like the Sunken City, and we were calling it the Might of the Naga. I was a little irritated because I had finished the artwork and all the the story and the graphics and all this stuff like the day before the Battlegrounds announcement, and they were calling it Rise of the Naga, and I was like, you guys stole our name. But anyways, and so this season instead of one weekly challenge, there's 2 challenges each week. So one goes along with the lore, and then the other is just for kind of funsies or for spice. And so the challenge for tonight is based on the old gods, and so each week goes through it kind of like the lore story behind the Sunken City, and then the challenges to kind of go with it. I'm actually going to play a recording real quick. Goliath has been amazing and recorded these little snippets for the lore behind each week. And so let me play it real quick and y'all can hear it, and then I'll tell you what the challenge is for this week.
Embodiments of chaos and corruption, the old gods plummeted to Azeroth from the great dark beyond and embedded themselves into its crust. While the elemental lords attempted to resist, they were no match for the old gods' power and succumbed to their terrible will. When the Titans discovered Azeroth, they saw the old gods had embedded themselves too deeply within the world's surface to be removed without destroying the planet, so they decided to imprison them below the surface, where for millennia they lay dormant.
All right, so starting out with week 1 is based on the old gods, and the theme of the old gods beneath the Earth's surface or the world's surface, the surface of Azeroth, lying dormant. And so 2 challenges. Primary challenge is that each deck must contain at least 8 dormant cards with a dormant keyword on it. We know these cards kind of suck, but it fits the theme. That's why we did 8 instead of like 20 or 15, 8 is reasonable. Let's say 2 times 4 cards. That's fine. The secondary challenge is that all cards in each deck must be from the following sets: Whispers of the Old Gods, Madness at the Darkmoon Fair and its mini set, Ashes of Outland, the Demon Hunter Initiate, Core, Legacy, and then Voyage to the Sunken City. Tonight, after the show live, we're going to be casting our featured match. It's going to be Dr. BOMD versus Schmoopy Daddy. And so we'll be hosting that here. It should be lots of fun. And for those of you who are not familiar, haven't watched it before, like we got it all set up with the graphics like HTC style. So like there's some production, and we've got, the overlays and the deck lists and all the fancy schmancy stuff. So it should be a lot of fun. So hopefully y'all can stay tuned and watch with us after the show. If not, it'll be up on YouTube probably tomorrow. We recorded it all in HD and stuff, and so if you're listening to this and you can't watch it, like watch it on YouTube. Don't watch the VOD. The VODs on Twitch are not quite as good. Anyhow, Good times, good times. There is some news this week. I'll pass it over to Hydra for that, but yeah, there's some stuff happening over here in Hearthstone land.
Yeah, so if you weren't living under a rock this week, we found out that there was going to be nerfs / buffs, but we didn't know what they were going to be. It was sort of this announcement of an announcement that we kind of get, and we found out that, hey, we basically weren't going to know until it's happening. So they are here. We have card updates for patch 23.2.2, and it did happen. Drek'Thar has been hit. our wonderful diamond Drek'Thars, if anybody out there kind of like, splurged for one of those, you can be thankful because you are going to get a refund. But so for Drek'Thar, all right, we'll start off with Drek'Thar quickly. The new battle cry is now going to summon 1 instead of 2 minions from your deck. So this is no longer a call to arms on a stick, unfortunately. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys ended up, crafting this one, or sorry, not crafting, but purchasing, because this was kind of a premium price. But if you did buy this card in the diamond version, you got 3,000 dust returned
Gold,
to your account. Or sorry, gold into your account instantly, which was pretty cool because I didn't when I first logged in, I didn't realize what was going on. I'm like, oh, cool, I got 3,000 gold.
You're like, quick, it was quick spend it before they take it away.
Yeah. Well, what did I get? Let's spend it right now.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, because we had discussed what was going to happen, right? Like, how are they going to pay us back? Because some people, you could spend real money on this. I think that's what I did. It was like
that's definitely what I did.
In Canada land, it was like $100. I'm just kidding. It was more like 30 or something. But
so we actually have dev insights on these cards too. I think this is the one. So they did a bunch of they did nerfs and they did buffs. I think of all the stuff, I mean, we can kind of jam through them, but I think this is the one in particular that really hit wild, because it was seen play in a handful of decks. Even Paladin, I'm sure it would see play. Inner Fire Priest, it would see play. Frog Shaman or Overload Shaman or Questline Shaman or whatever you want to call it, because it would pull the frogs. The dev insights here, and of course, they always nerf with standard in mind, right? So Gallon, who is one of the Hearthstone devs, has a whole Twitter thread on dev insights for the nerfs, which a lot of times they'll include in the patch notes, and they didn't this time. But I have the link to the tweets in the show notes, and I can post them up here in chat if anyone's interested. But I want to kind of look through them as we go through these. But Drek'Thar in particular, because there's such an impact on Wild. So Gallon says, hey everyone, I'm just reading verbatim. Hey everyone, huge balance patch coming today with 20 card changes, 3 nerfs, 17 buffs. Oh my goodness. We had 3 overarching goals for this patch. Nerf the cards that are making the format less fun than it could be, amp up some of the weaker Colossals, and reinvigorate the underperforming classes with a wide suite of various buffs. Nerfs. Let's talk about the 4-mana elephant in the room, Drek'Thar. Since the launch of Voyage to the Sunken City, Drek'Thar has been the best card in 2 of the 3 best decks in the format, miles away from the next best cards. Alongside this, the experience of going up against a turn 3 or turn 4 Drek'Thar made it feel like nothing else mattered. Clear outlier in both data and player sentiment made Drek'Thar a slam dunk nerf for this patch.
Yes.
I said it really well. I mean, I was playing or watching Lee Acer stream the other day, and I think he was just looking for a fun deck to play, and I pulled I think it was an Even Pally or some kind of aggro paladin out of list out of our Discord. He's like, hey, how do you play? I was like, all right, you either play Drek'Thar on curve or you play Call to Arms on curve, and you just go face. Like, that's but if you can Drek'Thar on curve, it's so hard to recover from, especially in Wild, where you've got, it'll pull like Nerubians or I don't know, just stuff to make the game different. It got to the point where standard people were running Drek'Thar in Questline Hunter, just because it's so good. Like,
they're just pulling tradable cards with it. It's kind of funny,
right? And so this one hits our format for sure. Rada, do you any thoughts on what impact this? And actually, maybe this is a good segue, but I know. So if you're not aware, Rada is part of the team at Tempo Storm who works on the wild meta snapshots. We rely on these all the time. Anytime someone asks for a list, like you can check our Discord for the fun janky decks and the achievement decks. I mean, when you want to play something good to like win with, go to Tempo Storm and check out the meta snapshot for the
come.
Right. That's what I will tell you. That's what I do. Sheep gave me a spreadsheet, and I've been saving my like the decks that I hit legend with every month, and I just look at and I'll record like the source, and it just says, it'll say free Shaman, Tempo Storm Wild Snapshot, Questline Hunter, Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot. Like they're all from there, so
we appreciate that.
You guys are amazing, though. I mean, and I'm just saying that because we're friends with like the people that write for y'all, but it's great. I mean, I was using it long before we ever knew each other, so just a big fan over here. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how does the Drek'Thar nerf impact Wild?
Yes, and so you were mentioning, I think, maybe a little sneak preview of what was in store for the next meta snapshot, but this is definitely impact on our format. So I was wondering, what are your thoughts kind of on this card in particular?
Absolutely, and as you know, Drek'Thar was a core component in several archetypes that were both sort of mainstays in Wild and emerging among the player base. You've mentioned Frog Shaman. That still probably exists, but it arguably gets significantly worse because the high roll is just gone. You can't pull both frogs. You can't pull frog plus Radiance of Ashara. So you're looking at a deck that still can have its core competency and be quite strong, but you probably want to cut Radiance of Ashara and that high roll because you need to guarantee, if you're going to be playing Frog Shaman, that you get the frog if you slam Drek'Thar. So it's still there, it just makes it slightly worse. The same is true of Inner Fire Priest, although there is a caveat there. Inner Fire Priest has relied on Drek'Thar to pull its core minions, but there may be emergent new spells that will find its way into the archetype with the buffs you've seen in Standard with like Serpent Wig. So there's still a lot of experimentation to be had there. Anything else that ran Drek'Thar is almost hard dead. You're talking about aggro Demon Hunter in its old form. I'm talking about a lot of those other decks like even Paladin that relied on it. The archetypes are still there, but Drek'Thar is not really a consideration now. Like even Paladin isn't going to want it. You're going to want like a Battle Master maybe and just have the more traditional curve. Yeah. But a lot of stuff that was starting to see significant play is going to probably fall off a little bit. And I think that isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think people love to complain, but frankly, I think our format is probably in like a better place than it's been in ages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of tempo in that sense, I mean, there are a lot of ways we can aggregate data and opinions, and looking at tempo specifically and our sort of tier 1, tier 2 archetypes, there are decks represented from a whole mess of different classes. And so I think a lot of people would agree with me that Wild isn't perfect and there's always tweaking that's going to be needed to be done, but we're in a healthier place right now than we have been in a lot of the recent past that you can think of, where the entire community was clamoring for something that was clearly broken. Now, if you like a class, there almost assuredly is a playable archetype in that class, excepting maybe Warrior. We'll see about that.
They ripped Pirate Warrior, and it's
I know,
kind of
right?
toast, but
they nuked that from orbit.
Oh, it's interesting because this was the first time I've ever hit Legend with Rogue. I did it on day 1, but it was like, all right, there's a good aggro deck, but that means that there are going to be good control decks, and then there's going to be good combo decks. And then looking at the meta snapshot, it's like, okay, well, there's Fish Rogue, and there's Cthulhu Druid, and there's Freeze Shaman, and like, it's the circle of life, right? And like you said, and then there's ones that, like your Even Warlock, oh my goodness, I was raging so hard. Like the teched out Even did I say Even Shaman? Oh my goodness, I meant Even Warlock. Like the teched out Even Warlock for Rogue that was running like 2 oozes and all the taunts and all the lifesteal and all the, it was like, but I don't know. I mean, I just thought it just feels like it's in a good place. So I don't know. I mean, I agree. It's been pretty fun lately, and I think the decks are still good. I my rank was declining a little bit, so I jumped on this week, and I wanted to get back in top 200, and so I played some more. Fish Rogue's still good. Sitting right around 200 right now, and I don't know. Had a lot of fun though, and faced kind of everything under the sun. It was Inner Fire and some Evenlock and some Freeze Shaman and some Rogue Mirrors. Every once in a while, I run into someone playing Pirate Warrior, and I just laugh because
oh no!
The poor deck, it just got hit so hard.
It's still out there, but it really did get hit hard. Yeah.
It almost makes me wonder if they like revert it like a year from now or whenever that particular rotation happens.
I kind of feel like trying it. I understand that the quest reward is so huge and like, but maybe it's not the worst idea to just try it the way it used to be, right? Try to go lower to the ground and quicker.
Maybe. Although I feel like if you want to play aggro, like the Rogue deck is just better.
It is. It really is. But
winning on turn 4 is kind of fun.
Winning on turn 4 is really fun.
And that's the state of Wild right now. A lot of archetypes have a significant high roll, and so you need to be able to present that lethal in turn 4, turn 5. And Pirate Warrior can really grind out some of longer games with the value of the Juggernaut, but
without it, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to end something on turn 4 or 5, you probably want to be on Rogue if you want to play aggro.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a sad day. Hey, Pirate Warrior's like gone away and come back since Mean Streets. Basically,
it'll be back again. So let's look at. There's a couple other nerfs here, and then a whole mess of buffs. And I'm just curious, and we can jam through these so we don't spend too long. But like, what I want to know is like, hey, how if either of you think that there's any real impact from these cards to Wild? I know that Demon Hunter is. I've seen NHL and a couple other people like maybe the sleeper deck at the moment. I don't know, but anyways, multi-strike is a Demon Hunter card. It was give your hero +2 attack. This turn they may attack an additional enemy minion. It's a fell spell. Cost 1. Now it costs 2.
I mean, I wasn't playing this myself anyway, so this one doesn't really personally do anything, for me.
No,
but
I feel like if you're playing, there's a couple Demon Hunter decks in Wild, kind of an aggro low to the ground type thing, and odd. And this is no longer odd, so there's that. But
yeah, I think this is the biggest one. I think people were beginning to experiment with aggro Demon Hunter in a real significant way, seeing the success in Standard. And Multi-Strike is right at the heart of that. And this nerf somehow hits both aggro and odd, because odd can no longer play it. And so, I mean, aggro still plays it probably, but yeah, it is a significant adjustment.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I don't know, like Demon Hunter has kind of been, I don't know, dead and Wild for a while. I was excited a little bit to see it come back. I need that 1K portrait still. I'm just shy of 800 now, and
I forget who said it to me, but I think a really good way to describe it is Demon Hunter is often too strong for Standard, but too weak for Wild.
Yeah.
In between.
Well, and it's hard because all the other classes have been around for ages, so there's so many tools. And because they're like the new kid on the block, like I mean, there's finally Wild exclusive cards, but they're not, the same. What I want to try experimenting with, and I think it's more of probably a fun deck than anything, but I feel like with Lady Setheno and like Emperor Thorison and a bunch of super cheap cost spells, or maybe the quest line, like could you do some kind of funky OTK? That'd be kind of fun. Do I think it's competitive? No, probably not, but I was
gonna say,
no.
You think you're playing Emperor on Curve? Oh no!
What year is this?
What year is it?
Oh,
I mean, though, if archetypes get greedier, there is room for stuff like that to sneak in. So it's just sort of a wait and see.
I missed that old Exodia combo with, but my how things have changed.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the next one up is Dragonbane Shot. This is the Hunter spell that said deal 2 damage, honorable kill, add a Dragon's Bane Shot to your hand. It was increased from 2 to 3. I almost wonder if, well, you know what, actually, hold on. Let me loop back real quick to Gallon's tweet so that we can look at the dev comments, just because this gives some insight. He said, other nerfs, multi-strike is already an incredibly efficient removal / damage dealing tool, but when combined with cards like Dread Prison Glaive is a clear outlier for what early game removal should be. Looking ahead, multi-strike will be in the format for the next couple of years, so we're nerfing it both for the health of the current and the health of the future metagames. Cool, so there we go.
This one, so from a free-to-play aspect, because I play on my EU and Asia accounts, free-to-play, this one sucked because I relied on, you know, a cheap deck, which was the Questline Hunter, which was it's a very cheap deck to be able to play, and this really hurt. I actually played Day of Nerfs with this and Drek'Thar just because I had like a play 3 Hunter games quest. It was horrible. Like I lost all 3 games, and it was not good. It was not fun. This really hurt. I like. Do you guys think that maybe you can now run this in the odd version, or is this just dead? Right, like because it's so bad that it's so expensive at this point, right?
3 damage, deal 2 kind of feels awful. Here's what they said on it real quick. He says, okay, finally, while Quest Hunter has an appropriate power level outside of Drek'Thar, it can be frustrating to repeatedly play against. Dragonbane Shot is one of the most flexible tools that this deck has, so softening it should improve the play against experience versus Hunter. Yeah, I don't know. When I first saw this, it was like, oh, costs odd now. But like, I between that and Rapid Fire, like I think odd Questline Hunter is just like kaput. I don't think it's
no, like because
it's
Arcane
just not
Shot's
nearly as good anymore, right?
Yes.
Arcane Shot's 1 mana for 2, and this is 3 mana for 2.
Or aimed. What is it? Aimed shot is deal 3 and then increase the hero power by 2.
Yeah.
Next one. I mean, the stuff it's up against, this will still be experimented with, but I think this is the most significant nerf, arguably, for Wild, because Questline Hunter was still quite strong, and this effectively nukes it from orbit, I think. I mean, we may be proven wrong, but I think this slows it down really significantly to the point where you might not even want to play it.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because that deck was so strong for such a long time that it kind of got old, but it's sort of feels like it's in the same place as Pirate Warrior right now, where it's like you can play it, but
well, think about like how much board development some of the aggro decks can have by turn 3, and your response is, "Hoo-hoo! I have a 3 mana, deal 2 to one of your dudes." Right? Like it's so bad.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, anyways, the definitely impact to Wild on this one, and I think it was like, yeah, the deck that was kind of barely breathing has now given up the ghost. So, well, we'll see. It could always come back. And that being said, like they could always revert it when it rotates later.
There's increasing precedent for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of these get reverted when they hit Wild, because, I mean, a lot of the stuff was okay. It was powerful, but it wasn't like broken compared to the rest of the format.
Right.
So whatever. If you want to give it back to the Hunter enthusiasts later, that's not the end of the world.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah. Wild's very fast right now.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been a bunch of buffs, and I think we can probably jam through them pretty quickly. And honestly, I don't think there's very much impact on Standard at all. I mean, on Wild at all. But I'm gonna jam through these. Hydra, you're welcome to say them, but I know you've been sick, and so I don't want you to have to use your voice if you don't want to.
No, I'm totally cool with you talking. I was I was losing my voice earlier when I was in a meeting, so it's all good.
All right, cool. Okay, so here's a couple buffs. Xylag's Stalk, which is part of Xylag the Abyss. This is the Demon Hunter Colossal Minion. What it used to do is at the end of your turn deal 1 damage to an enemy, and now it says at the end of your turn deal 2 damage to an enemy. I think this card was seeing like 0 play, and now I saw Draco Cat running it, so at least it's getting tried out. In Wild,
it was somewhere once. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think unless anybody's interested, because there's really not a lot of impact to Wild, like I'm not going to go through the dev comments and all the buffs.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, long story short is like these cards weren't seeing any play, and they wanted them to see some play and switch up, the archetypes a little bit and make bad cards playable. I mean, there was, what do they say, 17 buffs? It was a lot.
17, yeah.
I think some of them will trickle down to Wild, but it remains to be seen which will. I think a lot of people will be experimenting with Wild Paw Knoll.
Yeah.
The exact form of it, sort of like an aggro Burgle rogue, is kind of tricky because a Burgle package is kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So if you can make it work, great. And I mentioned the Serpent Wig before for like priest stuff. Maybe, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I think you're right, largely.
Yeah. Well, let's jam through these real quick. So the other ones, we saw a bunch of buffs to the like Big Beast Hunter, or whatever you want to call it in Standard. So here's Harpoon Gun. This is the Hunter weapon. It's a 3-mana 3/2 that says after your hero attacks a dredge, if it's a beast, reduce its cost. It previously said reduce its cost by 2. Now it says reduce its cost by 3. So there's that.
I like this change a lot. I don't know how much impact we'll see by this, but I think it's really cool. I think this
change.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Really promoting the whole beast hunter archetype.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, it wasn't seeing a lot of play, and I think that between Drek'Thar and it just not being strong enough, like everyone was playing the quest line still. The quest lines in general, like, did a number on the game. I mean, in both formats.
When I see something like this, it just makes me so sad for Fiery War Axe.
Once upon a time.
Our poor old Fiery Wind Axe. Okay, next up is Pet Collector. This is another Hunter minion. It used to, it's a 5-mana card. It's a Battlecry summon a beast from your deck that costs 5 or less. It previously was a 5-mana 3/3. Now it is a 5-mana 4/4. So increase to the stats here. These are all kind of in that same archetype as well. Next up is another Hunter card. It's called Osharon Saber. It's a 4-mana beast that says Rush. Death Rattle, put a Sunken Saber on the bottom of your deck. Previously was a 3/3, and now it is more aggressively statted as a 4/3.
Great.
And then the card that it poops out is also a 4/3 instead of a 3/3.
Cool.
So there. That doesn't affect us at all. Next up is the Priest Colossal minion, the Blackwater Behemoth. They reduced the mana cost. So previously it was an 8-mana 8/10 Colossal +1 with lifesteal, and it had like the little Orca that had taunt, I think, or whatever, because it doesn't see play. I really don't remember.
It forces the opposing minions to attack the Behemoth.
I see. That's right.
Yeah. Or an opposing minion randomly at the end of the turn. Just
okay.
suicide itself into the big boy.
It's cute. It has lifesteal. I don't think it was seeing much play, but you never know.
In Standard, maybe. In Wild, what are you going to do?
Oh, you got to put it in the janky Reno Priest. or just wait. Someone, White Delight or somebody will put it in Big Priest and... Dr. Delight.
I was going to say, he has rebranded. He is the Doctor of Delight now.
If this thing had taunt, maybe, but...
Well, that's the thing. If it had taunt, actually, I think it could see play in like Big Priest.
Yeah.
But because it lacks taunt, you're never playing that in Big Priest.
No, and the funny...
Obsidian statue wins every time,
That's
I guess.
True.
You need to save your face, yeah.
The interesting thing about the Colossal mechanic, though, is like if you res this, the appendage would revive too, right? Like, don't they go together?
Yes, they do. It just happened to me in Standard, by the way. I had a Colossal Minion revived, and the things went out of it, and I was like, hey, wait a second.
Oh, you're gonna res the little orca and not this. That's what will happen.
Yeah, resing 0-3s. Woo!
Oh, that sounds bad.
Oh my goodness.
Let's not do that.
On this week's challenge, get legend with this in Big Priest.
You stay away from me. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that.
Oh my goodness. What am I looking for here?
No. We can't do that.
All right. Next up is another priest spell. This is Whirlpool. It's an epic spell, epic nature spell. It says destroy all minions and all copies of them wherever they are. Previously cost 9, now it costs 8.
Kind of like this card.
You know, this one I still feel like when I first saw this, I thought it did one thing, and what it actually does is something different. And I think if it actually worked the way that I thought it did, it would be crazy. I thought it was just nuke all minions and all copies of them in both decks, like just poof, no more minions. And I was like, this is insane. Just like, all right, your deck is now gone.
Destroy all minions.
Yeah, that's what it says, right? Destroy all minions and all copies of them wherever they are.
Wherever they are.
And I was like, wow.
Unless you're playing a spell deck, you're screwed.
This would be totally. You play Spell Priest, right? Like that's a thing. But the concept of it was, I thought, interesting. This probably does not affect us at all.
He's playing Standard, not in Wild.
Yep.
No, it's too expensive for Wild.
Shadowcloth Needle is the priest weapon. It says it's a 0/3. It says after you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 damage to all enemies, lose 1 durability. They reduce the cost. So previously cost 2, now it costs 1. Way back in the day, I think I saw a little bit of it in like the aggro Shadow Priest, but I'm pretty sure everyone's cut it from those lists. And
people will try. 1 mana is cheap, but I don't know.
I don't think it's not running that many spells, right? A lot of them now are pretty like minion heavy. You're running like the Mind Blast and then the ones to find the Mind Blast, but that's kind of it, right?
Yeah, that and Raise Dead, and you're good. I mean, there are some shadow spells in there, yes, but you can't dilute the pool. You need to be able to guarantee a Mind Blast, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, well, here's one that might impact us. So this is another priest epic spell, the Serpent Wig. Okay, so previously it said give a minion +1/+1 if you played a Naga while holding this, add a Serpent Wig to your hand. And now it says give a minion +1/+2. And same deal, if you played a Naga while holding this, add a Serpent Wig to your hand. So we may see some people experimenting with this card. Not me, but I'll watch someone else do it and then maybe try it.
So I think there's a home for this in Interfire Priest, but the exact composition, I'm going to leave up to a better deck builder, because think about it this way. In earlier versions of Interfire Priest, they were playing Whelp Bonker, which is a 1/5 frenzy card. Interfire Priest can play Treasure Guard now, a 1/5 Naga with Taunt, and it also then triggers the secondary condition of Serpent Wig to refresh it into your hand. Mm-hmm. So they're getting an upgrade in terms of both like Taunt and the sort of the draw card, and you can create additional Serpent Wigs. There's a way that this can be done. I don't have an exact list because it's not me, but there's a way, and I think it can be quite good.
I like it. I think we'll see someone try it out, and I mean, if nothing else, we'll see.
I mean, basically, yeah. I think Interfire is still decent, and this, I think, can be a potential line that the archetype can continue to rely on to cement its position in the format.
Cool. By the way, I heard that Dawn made a wig or a hairpiece or a hat or something based off the Serpent Wig. Did that happen?
I need to ask her.
Because that sounds epic, right?
That was just running through my head. I was just staring at the art and I was bragging about what Mrs. Hydra had made recently with all of like her crocheting and whatnot. I'm like, man, maybe I could get that thing.
I kind of want that.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it looks pretty sweet.
It looks really sweet. And if we play a Naga, we'll get more of them.
Oh.
That's a lot of wigs. Oh dear. All right, let's there's a few more here. So Tooth of Nefarian, this is a rogue spell. It says deal 3 damage, honorable kill, discover a spell from another class. It previously cost 3, now it costs 2. Cool.
Yeah. Seems like it could potentially be part of a package that Rogue would want.
It's got the burgle thing. I remember when people were playing that lifesteal weapon way back when.
Spectral Cutlass?
Yeah, Spectral Cutlass. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, two mana deal 3 is honestly not that bad.
Yeah, two mana deal 3 with an RNG upside is quite decent.
It's actually pretty good, and it can go face. Yeah. That's a lot of times that's what we ask when we see these spells.
Yep.
Like, well, if it says to a minion, we're probably not going to play it, but if it can go anywhere, we like that.
We do.
It probably wouldn't see play in a more mainline rogue package because we already have better options in Eviscerate and Wicked Stab, but this is quite doable, and there's probably a home for it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ultimate BM is honorable kill on the face, right? I love that.
and you if you hold on, remind me then, if you honorable kill on the face of an opponent,
you still get the reward. Yeah, it does it before they die, before they blow up. Like, yeah,
you can trap them there while you decide on the reward.
Right?
Yes,
totally.
Okay. That's what I was going for. Yeah.
What will I pick now?
Oh, how will I take this?
It'd be really cool if you could pick something that healed them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, is there any such card?
There's, I mean, there's like the. Like priest restore 5 health to each hero. I don't think you can discover that though, because it's not
gonna actually trigger it. But
yeah, we would need something that triggers on discover that would keep them alive, and that doesn't exist.
That would be cool though. One day we'll do it. It'd be the ultimate BM. Kill them and then heal them,
and then kill them again,
and then kill them again.
Oh my god, I love it. Okay, SI7 Smuggler is another rogue card. It's a common card. 3 mana, 1/3, Battlecry, summon a random 1 cost minion upgraded for each other SI7 card you have played this game. So it said previously Battlecry was summon a random 0 cost minion and it increased every time. And now it starts at 1 cost minion. So it just
so it's just +1.
It's +1. Yeah, it used to start at 0, now it starts at 1.
Seems good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing that SI7 like questline rogue, then you probably want to play that. I don't think we're really playing that in Wild, but in Standard, it's not bad. Okay, here's one that might actually impact us. So, Wild Paw Null, it reduced cost. So, this is it previously was a 6 mana 4/5 with Rush. It costs 1 less for each card you've added to your hand from another class. And now it costs 5. So, 5 mana 4/5 Rush costs 1 less. I mean, probably won't play it in a while, but it would go with that Burgle package, right? Which was seeing a ton of play in Standard for a while.
I think there's a potential home for this. If you look at like, all right, there's maybe a secret passage high roll we can continue to rely on, and Sir Finley, the new Sir Finley, that is really good with this. So I don't know, maybe there's like a mini Wild Paw Null package that will find its way into Rogue decks, but if we can get this out on turn 1 or turn 2, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good card.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
you can't sleep on these.
Yeah,
we can't sleep on these. Cost 1 less if cards.
Yes,
we've learned, right?
We've seen it too many times. Anytime it says it costs 1 less for
the corridor creeper effect.
Just so.
Yeah.
Well, I know that a guy that I have played against a bunch, and that is on the NA Legend ladder, Berg is his name. He's been experimenting with this as part of a Mine Rogue archetype, where there's like
rogue.
Yeah, it's like he was working on it the last couple days, and it's still sort of early, but there's this plus sort of an early Burgle package with Maestra and Finley and stuff like that, and then like the traditional like the newish Mine Rogue back end of like Snowfall, Graveyard, and just like an OTK there, which is kind of meme-ish. But if there's an early defensive high roll like this, maybe it's tier 3 or tier 4, and you can find some playability. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love the creativity.
Yeah, no,
People are going to experiment. But Nate was correct. Like, it wasn't seeing any play up till this point. So whether or not it does is, I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, you never know. Could come back,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And then here's another interesting one. Tess Greymane got reduction in cost. So Tess, iconic card here. Battle cry: replay every card from another class you've played this game. Targets chosen randomly. So it's like the Rogue Yogg, except you know what it's going to play. There's some shenanigans, and I think
Major Domo.
Yes,
Major
Domo Rogue is now a turn faster. Concerned mom, get to your computer.
Right, I was gonna say this is like the one of the definitive Concerned Mom decks. Major Domo Rogue. And
that deck is really fun.
It
really is.
It is.
When I played that a lot, it kind of blew up. It didn't have the greatest win rate, but it was super fun when you did win.
What's crazy is like when I don't know. I saw Mom play it so much, and he's so good with it, and it just you infuriate your opponent because you just lock them out. But
it's a prison deck. It's just a classic prison deck.
It is.
Yeah.
I still wish that they would make Tess a portrait, like a rogue portrait. It would be so great.
Buddy, you and me both.
I remember reaching out back when this was, I think, Witchwood, when they did the solo content, and you could play as Tess, you could play as Houndmaster Shaw, and I was like, why don't we have these as portraits in the game? They'd be so cool. And they actually responded, and I think the response was like, well, because then we'd have to record voice lines for all of them, and or we could release them without it, but then everyone's gonna complain at us, and it's like,
You're right. You should do more work and get this to us.
I always love Tess. I think this would be a really fun portrait. I wish they would do it, but
yeah. I dare you to shove this card in Odd Rogue and figure out how it works. I mean, that plus Swashbuckler plus some combination of other cards and profit.
Hey, we could meme. Hey, you know what? Wild Paw Nola is odd cost, so there you go.
Whoa! So
Oh
it's
my
friendly. Maestra is not, though.
Oh, sad.
Sag.
All right, we have a couple more. Oh my gosh, we have a few more. Let's jam through. All right, so there's one last rogue card. This is also what did they even do to it? They made its butt bigger. So Henge Clan Burglar was a 4/3. Now it's a 4/4.
They gave it a bigger butt. Yeah.
I don't think we really care about that. These other ones are for Warlock, and these are, I've not seen a new one make an Abyssal Curse deck in Wild yet.
Nope.
They could, but like, why would you just play like Mechathune and win instead?
Yeah.
It looks like these ones are all kind of like, hey, Murloc Warlock wasn't seeing play, so let's buff all the.
It looks like it.
Murlocs and Warlock.
Yeah. So Suracrest Cultist was a 2/3, and now it's a 3/4.
Hooray! We did it.
Dragged Below used to cost 4, now it costs 3, which is, okay. And then Osharon Scavenger was a 3-mana 3/4, and now it's a 2-mana 2/3.
That's good. Whether or not it's significant is, I don't know. Give it to EPT Hopper and see what he does.
Hey, you know what? The first time I saw a Cute Lock, I thought it was a meme, and then I got beaten by it a bunch of times, and so I'm never like, I'm reluctant to just write these cards off.
Correct.
Someone will do something with it. Someone will not be me, but I'll be interested to see what it is when it happens. I like the idea of the Curse Warlock. I've lost to it a handful of times in Standard, playing like a super heavy control list, and there's some shenanigans with little Tammy to play a bazillion curses and whatever, but like Wild, I don't really see it yet. It could be a thing maybe if Control Warlock ever comes back. It's just hard right now, I think, because the meta is so fast.
Yes.
Oh. So all right, here's another Murloc. This is a Warlock one. Apologies for the audio listeners. I'm trying to jam through these kind of fast because I don't think there's a big impact on Wild. But if you watch the video version, you can see the cards up on the screen. So there's that. So this was a previously was a 3 mana 3/4, and now it's a 2 mana 2/3. Are these the same? Oh, that's just the scavenger that pops out of the last card. Okay. And then it looks like the last one here is called Bloodscent Vilefin, another Warlock Murloc card. Previously it was a 4 mana 4/4. It says Battlecry Dredge. If it's a Murloc, changes cost to health instead of mana. Now it is a 3 mana 3/4. So reduced cost, but also reduced attack. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen people playing a couple Murloc cards in like Reno Lock to pull your Gigafin, but not this one.
It's not this, no. This is not the way.
No. I think you want to, if you're going to play the cards to, like the card to tutor your Gigafin, like, you want something that's going to draw your Murloc, not, this is just Dredge. Very good chance that your 3 cards is not going to be the one that you're looking for. So, this is kind of a, as Randy would say, that's a no for me, dog.
Nice American Idol reference.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I got you, fam.
Yeah, I think that's really it. There's a bunch of Battleground stuff, which is fun, but not something that we're going to talk about. And there's the N'Zoth event going on, which is fun, but not something we're going to talk about. Any other thoughts on these cards? Anybody?
We'll have to see how it shapes up for Wild. I think there's going to be a lot of experimentation, and I wish I could really look into my crystal ball and tell you. I really wish.
Speaking of Murlocs, there are a bunch of Murloc skins that are very fun.
Ooh. Give me a Murgul'dan or something.
Oh my goodness.
Murgul'dan.
Yeah, take that to the bank, Hydra. I want that. Like, I'm gonna throw my wallet at the camera until I get it.
Oh my goodness. I hope that, like, okay, when they did like the mech skins, it was cool because they just did one for each class.
Yeah.
If they do Murlocs for only like half the classes, I'm just gonna be sad. They gotta do.
I think we're gonna get there.
It's a drip feed, right? Just wait till next payday. More will come out.
Right, that's probably true. They've been releasing them quickly.
What they haven't done Warlock. They haven't done Warrior. I don't know. They haven't done like a few of them. Is there a train?
No.
Nate, is there an airstrike in your neighborhood?
They're my poor cat. The air show is this weekend.
Oh yeah.
And they're out practicing for it. Let me close the window over here because there's they just did a drive-by.
Ooh.
Maybe my poor cat was sleeping up on the desk and he just freaked out. Bolted.
Do you need cleaning supplies?
Not yet, but
not that kind of freak out.
No, but poor guy. My wife said, "All right, we've got 2 cats, their brother and sister, and the girl cat was in her lap all day, like just freaked out because these planes have been like flying over the house all day." And
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Anyways, it'll be over this weekend. Yeah. So fun stuff. It sounds like they have a lot of skins in store. One of the Blizzard employees tweeted something about how they were really excited that, hey, these new skins, and we got to share them with you, and just wait, we've got so many cool things in store. So it made me think that there's more coming. What we've seen lately is, like, I swear every Tuesday it's like, oh, what's new in the shop? How my poor wallet's crying over here. And anyways, I would love to see a Murloc Gul'dan. That would be great. Murgul'dan.
Oh my gosh. I just
take it to the bank. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Murgul'dan.
If it's not, I will do a thing that is reasonably a thing. I don't know. Challenge me to something. It's absolutely going to be that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. That's it for our patch notes, our nerfs and buffs and stuff. And so, but yeah, one of the things that we wanted to talk about, this is Hydra was saying, hey, I really want to learn more about Even Warlock, and I think the class is the deck is in a good place right now. When the rogues, started appearing on my legend climb, it was 40% rogue, and And then I see Rotted, I think also day one legend, right? With the never bring a fish to a warlock fight, except Gigafin. Oh, I love it. So
I was just hard targeting the rogues.
Yeah, no, but that's smart. I mean, I think that there's something to be said for meta call, and like you got to look at what you're playing. But my climb was 38% rogue, I think, and then I kept playing the increase to 40% rogue. And so
that's about where I was. Yeah,
you can hard target it with this. And so here's your tweet. It looks like you had said mostly mobile, but roughly 75% win rate, which is incredible. So here's the list. I'll read it real quick for the audio folks. If you're watching the video version, it's up on the screen. If you're looking at the show notes, it's all there with the codes. But
no fish.
Lovingly called No Fish. So 2 copies of Raised Dead, 2 copies of Acidic Swamp Ooze, 2 Defiles, 2 Dirty Rats. This is such a dirty deck. Oh my goodness. 2 Drain Souls, 2 Galaka Crawlers. You're so mean. A Sun Fury Protector, 2 Demonic Assaults, 2 Sea Devil Stinger, 2 Spice Bread Bakers, 1 copy of Anetheron, 1 copy of Battleground Battlemaster, Dreadlich Tamsin, Gen Greymane, Gigafin, 2 Goldshire Knolls, 2 Mountain Giants, and 2 Molten Giants. This deck is nasty. I don't know what else to say about it. I raged so hard. And there's someone else playing it? Was it OT Zaxia, I think, if I'm pronouncing that right?
This is an edited version of what they had begun, and they were on the absolute right track. And then I just added my own little odds and ends to it.
Spin on things, yeah. And there's a great write-up. There's a great write-up on Tempo Storm of, the archetype as a whole. That being said, I'm hardly an expert on this. What can you tell us about it? I mean, how does it play? I mean, I know I was talking to 6J last night, and the idea of you just tap and play giants, but
that's the general idea, but I feel like there's a little more ins and outs than that, because that's what I do, but
well, and
I feel like my win rate could be higher.
It's funny because part of the conversation went down the road of when we've got this friends group of folks who consistently hit legend every month and are very, very good, but reminder that this group of folks is probably we're talking top 1% of players, or top 0.5% of players, and average Joe Hearthstone player is not going to be as quickly adept to a deck as some of our incredible friends here. And so it's Tempo Storm is a really interesting resource, because you can look at the cards and you can copy and paste the deck list, and then you can lose with the deck. Just having the list doesn't.
I've done that before.
I've done it before too. And so just the concept that just because you have the cards doesn't mean that you can automatically play it. And so if maybe you could give us a quick primer on how this works, or what does it looking to do?
It would be absolutely my pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
You've decided to play Even Warlock.
I have.
That's really fantastic. I recommend you draw Sea Devil Stinger and Gigafin, and then just, kind of sit back and profit.
Okay, so wait till they fill their board and then eat everything.
Oh, that was the end of my presentation. No, I tease, though, because Even Warlock has inherited a high roll, unlike one that it never had before, and it's absolutely essential in this fast meta, and that's what Sea Devil Stinger and Gigafin is. But Hydralisk really put the nail on the head. With Even Warlock, you're used to playing a deck where you press the discounted life tap button, pay 1 mana and 2 life, and you get that card. Very, very powerful, arguably the most powerful upgraded hero power in the game. And you leverage that into playing massive minions, Anetheron, Mountain Giant, Goldshire Knoll, ahead of curve, and then using your life that you spend, you get to play stuff like Molten Giant or Lokalar the Ice Lord, if you want to include him. Even Warlock is, at its heart, an aggressive archetype, I find. But I think more correctly, it's actually a versatile archetype. And what I mean by that is, you see the list I have here, no fish. It is hard tailored for an aggro meta with stuff like Galaka Crawler to target rogue. You're looking at Demonic Assault to put shit in the way so your giants can go face. But a lot of these swing slots, think about Even Warlock this way. It is a test of your knowledge of your meta. Because there are a lot of things that you could filter in here. Let's say you have a combo focus meta. You'll play Cult Neophyte, you'll play Nerubian Unraveler. But you'll still have that main backbone package of big minions that can absolutely obliterate your enemy, especially when combined with Battleground Battlemaster for a very cheeky OTK. So even Warlock is this sort of core handlock package mixed with a sort of mixed tech package. And the most successful Even Warlock players are the ones who know the meta around them, sort of can foresee the meta that is coming based on the good cards and build their deck appropriately. Because if you ran this out against like a druid, you're probably going to be out of luck, the version that I have right here. But if you swap out some of those aggro things like Galaka Crawler, and if you want to swap out Acidic Swamp Ooze, put in Neophyte, put in Unraveler, suddenly you take a pretty unfavored matchup and swing it almost on its head. Because, I mean, think about all the times you've been hit by Celestial, you just drop an Unraveler and your opponent's done. Even Warlock is a fast deck that wants to attack its opponent and attack its opponent's weaknesses.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so it's really interesting that you say that, because when I looked at this deck, I'm like, how do I play this? And when the moment you say, at its heart, this is essentially an aggro deck. You can see the sparkle in Hydralisk's eyes, and
I mean, it's also knowing when you're the aggro and when you're the control. Like against like a pirate rogue or a pirate warrior, you're kind of the control for the first 4 or 5 or 6 turns
until you draw a defile.
Yeah, or until you drop a giant and hit him in the face with a demonic assault, and suddenly they can't get through your little shitty 1/3s, and you're slamming an 8/8 right into their face, and they're just dead. So it's all about knowing like when to turn the corner there, like when you've moved from a defensive posture to pure out attack. And I think that the best Even Warlock players, the ones who can know when to turn that corner.
Yeah.
Or the ones who know how to draw Sea Devil Stinger and Gigafin. I mean, that's obviously.
Hey, there is definitely a certain amount of skill in top decking the good cards, right?
I crafted them in gold, so it means I draw them more now.
And that's actually a really excellent point. I mean, there's some matchups where you'll like hard keep Defile or hard keep like, I don't know, a Dirty Rat against some combo stuff. But in most cases, with Even Warlock, you were keeping like Mountain Giant and a Netheron, and that's still often the case. But arguably, you almost want to just hard look for Sea Devil Gigafin now because it's just such a powerful high roll.
That was a big question of mine because it seems to be it's the newest inclusion in this deck, right? Yeah. And it does have that high roll. What if you had Sea Devil Stinger and you also had Molten Giant along with that combo? Would you keep the Molten Giant too? Because you can also drop that? Or is that a little too greedy?
I'm just going to sit over here and rub my nipples very casually. No, it's not. It's very greedy, but it's actually quite perfect because if you have like Sea Devil into Gigafin, into Molten, into maybe another Molten, suddenly the opponent's just dead.
Yeah.
Well,
like, what are they going to do against that?
I remember, at its height, like Darkglare Warlock was like, yeah, you get yourself down to 5, 6, 7, 8 health, but like you've also got a board full of 8/8s, and if your opponent can't deal with any of that stuff, like you're just dead.
Well, and that's the whole point of Even Warlock. Your life is absolutely a resource, and you need to leverage it. Because Molten Giant is one of your most powerful cards. In most versions of this deck now that we're away from like the day one like pure aggro rogue, I would include something like Lokalar the Ice Lord because it is just such a powerful swing card. If you can get that down and it sticks, you just win the game.
What would you swap for it?
let me look at the list here that I have given you. Well, the list I provided for you guys was sort of like a day one anti-rogue, anti-aggro.
Yeah, it's got double rat.
You know what? I've got the
double
one.
ooze.
Hold on. I'll pull up the one from the Tempo Storm meta snapshot
Oh,
because I have it here. It's right here. I don't know who to credit the list with, but it's very similar. So it's 2 copies of Raised Dead, 2 copies of Acidic Swamp Ooze, 2 Defiles, 2 Dirty Rats, 2 Drain Souls, 2 Glocka Crawlers. Is this the same list?
I think it's the same list.
Oh, never mind.
But
All right.
in which case,
well,
I can tech around this very straightforward. I mean, it depends on, if you're not facing any rogues, you
Spend
probably
less
want to cut the Acidic Swamp Ooze. You can cut a Glocka Crawler. You can cut the Sun Fury Protector. Probably cut a Baker. You want Localar. You want another Battlegrounds Battlemaster. You might want Cult Neophytes or Nerubians if it's a Druid heavy meta. Just look to what you're facing and then just move around accordingly. I'm just going to say this right here. I am perhaps the biggest fan of the Demonic Assault that you can have.
it's
Yes,
surprisingly good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It absolutely pollutes the Raised Dead pool. But
Yes, that's my one problem with it.
I really, really like it as both reach and sort of just, it's really hard to deal with. Like if you have a giant and you blast them with the Demonic Assault, like they have to get through 2 little 1/3s with taunt, and you can often just ship your damaged face then, and you don't have to worry about it.
Well, and like you said, there's, I think you called it cheeky lethal, right? With Battleground Battlemaster. I'm like, you're sitting there with an 8/8 on board, and all of a sudden you can ship 16 damage face.
So for the Battlegrounds Battlemaster, are you more of a fan of 1 or 2 copies?
Typically 2.
Yeah.
I would almost always start with 2 copies. This was just sort of like I would go back and forth between the Sun Fury and not, depending on just how much aggro I was facing. But I think unless you want to like hyper target something, 2 of is exactly where you should be.
I think so. I was struggling with 1 copy because I feel like I needed it so many times, and then
It's your main win con typically.
Yeah.
You all just reminded me of something that was included in this patch that we didn't touch on that is super cool, is that you can now build decks with more than 30 cards. And then it won't be a valid deck, but you can put more than 30 cards and then pull them out as like a deck building tool that was included in this patch, which is super cool. And so if you want to build it all out and then figure, what do I want to add, what do I want to remove, super neat thing now. So yeah, that slid into the patch notes, but I saw Celestalon tweet about it and thought it was very neat. And then accidentally did it myself. I'm sitting here, why is this deck not working? And then I opened it up. You have 34 cards in this deck. Oh, oops.
Oops. I guess I can't get away with that.
One other thing I wanted to bring up, you probably heard the YouTube in the background for a second. There's a video series that I watched when I was a baby Hearthstone player. This is from 7 years ago, from Trump, who is not the president, ex-president. I'm talking about Trump, the mayor of Valuetown, old school Hearthstone player. Trump has a video series called Trump's Basic Teachings. And there's video number 3 called Fearless Tapping, about Warlock. And Rod had mentioned the concept of life tap as a resource, your life total as a resource. And so this is a 12-minute video where he talks about when to tap and when not to, and the concept of your life being a resource, and also ordering, right? Tap first before you play to see maybe you draw the thing that you're looking for. And there's some concepts in the video that's like, these are fundamental like skills of Hearthstone. And
yes, they're also kind of hard to teach sometimes, because until you really have hundreds and hundreds of reps with an archetype like Even Warlock, it's kind of hard sometimes to really articulate like the exact amount of health that's okay. And I think I mentioned before, like, you need to have a good knowledge of the meta. You just need to know the decks you're up against, because you need to be able to reliably say, okay, how much burst can they do versus how much do I need to dig through my deck? Like, knowing when you need to stop versus keep going.
Thank goodness there's no secret mage right now.
But knowing, how much burst did they have in hand? You know, Leroy is a card. We don't see it very much anymore. Mr. Smite is a card.
Mind Blast is a card.
Yeah, there's stuff.
Mind Blast is a card. I actually rotted. You might laugh at this, but I accidentally ratted out Prophet Villain while I was playing this deck and got Mind Blasted to death. I'm like, really?
I guess not all who wander are lost.
Did that just happen? But it totally happened.
And that's the risk of rat too. Like, yeah.
Well,
especially with Priest. Oh my goodness. But I bet you didn't know that you were facing that.
I had no idea.
Oh, you're like, I was like, Priest, I'm gonna get him. Oh no.
Ooh, Prophet Villain.
Well, the other piece I think you mentioned that's really smart is the concept of know what you're playing against, and the idea like Dirty Rat is a card, and can you drop it on 2? Yeah, should you? Probably not. Like, or know what you're playing against. Oftentimes, I'll recommend like if you're gonna rat, you got to be prepared to deal with what it pulls out, and if it's a little like 2/1 pirate and we don't care about that, then great. Right. But if it's you're playing against a Reno Paladin and it's gonna pull out a giant or something, a super greedy legendary, I mean, like I probably don't want to do that. Or be prepared.
Yeah, and that's absolutely at the heart of Even Warlock. You need to know what you're playing because you need to know whether or not it's safe to rat on 2.
Yeah. But no, there's some fun combos. You've got Rat Defile, you've got Rat Galaka, or you can do some spice depending on how much mana you have. Ratting into Gigafin or something like that. Could be very fun. So. This looks cool. I love it. We'll have to play some of this. Are there any spicy combos or anything that you're looking for in the mulligan, or anything? I guess that I would say that's not evident by looking at the list.
I mean, you're gonna want your big boys, but it also really depends on what you think you're up against. Because if you having a mountain giant against one of the hotter aggro decks might not send you, so you might actually want to pitch that back. A Nefarian is pretty usually a safe keep, as is Gold Chernoll, because you're gonna fill your hand, and especially Gold Chernoll is an anti-aggro tool. But beyond that, like if you have Sea Devil, if you have Gigafin, you want that. Mm-hmm. That's probably the best high roll you could possibly want, but it all really depends on what you think you're up against, and that's kind of a strength and maybe ever slightly a weakness of Even Warlock. I mean, it's a great deck, but it requires you to, have a knowledge.
Yeah, I find sometimes I struggle with certain decisions. Like I'll be going up against, say, a warrior or a rogue, and I have, say, Gold Chernoll in my mulligan, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool because I can trade that in really quick. But a Defile might be a lot better in this case. So do I toss the really good keep of the Gold Chernoll, or am I like really looking for that Defile kind of thing? So I think there are some decisions like that can be kind of difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely correct.
So for those who aren't familiar, Sea Devil Stinger, it's the 4-mana Murloc. It draws a Murloc, right? And then that Murloc costs health instead of, or what does it do?
If you have another Murloc in your hand, or the next Murloc you play this turn,
costs health instead of mana, is it?
Correct.
So you have to have it then. So you got to draw it first? Okay, yes, so it does not.
You have to have Sea Devil and your Gigafin in hand, and then just slam them both.
Gotcha. And there's
you can't do it if you don't have the amount of health.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do that as early as turn 3 with the coin, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Or I guess earlier if a druid ramps you, but that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
There's no
even if they don't have the biggest board at the time, because I know the idea is to eat everything they have. That's stats anyway, right?
You send it, yeah.
Yeah, you send it anyway. Like they could have one pirate on board and it doesn't matter because you just totally put a lot of stats on the board.
Correct. And not all decks in Wild have the ability to deal direct damage to Gigafin itself. So even if they have the ability to start to deal with your board, whatever you ate is going to get flushed if they kill the taunt first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no tutoring, right, for Murlocs the way that there is in Shaman, like with ice fishing or anything?
Not available in Even Warlock as such. Like Gorlock Ravager, the 5-mana Murloc, is quite good in like Reno Lock for tutoring shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not quite the same in Evenlock.
If only there was a way to draw cards each turn for 1 mana.
1 mana. Yeah.
You could play the Curator.
I'll
don't
pass.
play the Curator. It's a total joke. It does draw Murloc though.
No.
I can make that bait. I'll make a list on
How
Hit
much
Legend.
does the Curator cost?
7.
That'd be perfect. That's just what you need in Even Warlock.
Odd Warlock Master Race.
Yeah, odd Warlock. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love I think there's a fine art, when people were playing Illucia, and same thing with Dirty Rat, like there's a fine art to playing it, and I laughed so hard when I was playing against an Even Warlock the other day who took the chance and played their Dirty Rat on 2, and it pulled my Mr. Smite, and they just shame conceded. And,
no, buddy, no. Oh, what have you done? I mean, it happens. It happens.
But that's a gamble, when 75% of your deck is 1-cost cards, it's like, the chances are you're going to pull something tiny. But Dreadlich Tamsin is a good card too.
Oh, she's so good. Oh my god. She's absolutely incredible. She is core, as far as I'm concerned, to Even Warlock. AoE, a bunch of draw, creates little shitters. She is everything this deck wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It makes me want to really play this. So when do you play the Sun Fury? I guess it just, if you drop a couple giants against an aggro deck, it just puts some
shields up. Yeah.
Sun Fury is absolutely the 30th card. If I were making this deck right now, I'd just put another Battlegrounds Battlemaster in her place.
Mm-hmm.
But I put her in early and I just kept winning, so I was just like, let it ride.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we played old school, like Handlock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is
right.
Sun
Big
Fury.
boys, lock them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taunt is cheat. What? Come on.
Mork in chat.
Oh my goodness. I remember, going up against this, and it was like, Dirty Rat. No, that's not nice. Wait, Drain Soul. Wait a minute. That's health. Wait a minute. Galaka Crawler. Like, no, stop it. Acidic Swamp
I'm
Ooze,
already dead.
like eating my swordfish, and then
they raise dead it all back.
Right. Or you get you get them down, they've got this full hand, and then they bake her for 8 health or whatever. It's like, you cheater.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun to play against all the rogues, but I mean, as things evened out over the next couple days, I took out a few things, but I mean, the core of this deck is still mostly intact. And if I may,
of course,
I think the reason why you would want to play Even Warlock right now is because there are a lot of archetypes in Wild that are, that have a really polarized matchup spread. And that's fine if that's what you're expecting. Even Warlock is perhaps the least polarized deck in the format. If you build it sort of right down the middle and you're not like hard targeting something, there are matchups where you'll be unfavored, but there isn't like one specific matchup that you'll be so overwhelmingly favored that you probably just won't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll always kind of feel halfway in the game, excepting maybe against like Aggro Priest. That's just a bad matchup.
What are your thoughts on even Reno Warlock? I know that was a fad for a minute there.
Oh, I think it's a lot of fun. I love it. I don't think it's quite as good because some of the core competencies we want to be able to guarantee in Evenlock, like big boys on curve.
Well, your giants and your gnolls,
yeah.
Consistency just goes down so much.
Exactly. I mean, we are allowed more tools there. Like we have a demon package potentially. We have Reno. We have Zeph. We have Gul'dan. That's all fun, but I just don't think it's as good.
I still can't get over Murgul'dan.
It can be good.
And
100% that's going to be it.
Murgul'dan.
Yeah.
We were predicting it right here. Murgul'dan.
Whose voice was that, by the way?
It's El Tino.
Oh my god.
Mr. Tip the Scales himself, yes.
He caught us off guard so hard with that. It was so, because he's like, I'm gonna do a little impression here, right? And
I
then
thought we asked him
it's
like if he wanted to give any shout outs or something. It was like, right? It was something.
yeah, and it started off so mellow at the beginning, and then it ramps, and he just got us so hard. You can hear us laughing in the background of the clip. It's so great. Thank you, Altina, for timeless button.
Oh my God! No!
Just never. I'll stop.
It's absolutely amazing.
Oh my goodness! It never gets old.
That should be the battle cry of Gold. I was gonna say Gold Daniel.
Murgledan.
Murgledan.
I will say also we got to play with these cards early on. It was super cool to get invited to that Theorycraft thing with Blizzard, and
congratulations.
Thank you.
So cool.
That was amazing. A big shout out to Alkali, by the way, who's just a fantastic community manager.
Amazing. I met her at BlizzCon. She is amazing.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was that?
Great. Oh, it was great. I had pancakes with her. It was fantastic.
It was, yeah. It's absolutely incredible.
It sounds. I mean, I now want pancakes.
So when we first saw, not only do we get to play with all the cards gold, and then we put the that golden celebration card back. It was like the only time we'll ever get to use it, right?
Yeah, we won worlds.
But we got to the first time we saw Gigafin, like the animation and the sound effect of like Gigafin and like Gigafin's like appendage or whatever you want to call it, like oozing out of its backside. It was just, it's incredible and gross at the same time.
I'm pretty sure Zeddy destroyed us with Gigafin.
I think
Sounds
that
like
I think
on
that
the live
happened
stream.
because
Yeah,
we were playing aggro druid or something.
Yeah, it was aggro druid.
Like that, and
yeah,
we had this giant board and had Zeddy down to like 5 health or something. It was like, oh, we got this, and then Gigafin just ate the board. It was like, oh, we lose.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I've been playing this, I mean, your list specifically, Rotted, recently, and what was really, I mean, unfortunate for me was I swear everybody online saw that you posted the list too, because
well, yeah.
If I look at my games played, I played 38 games of this deck, and I only versed 8% rogues. And so I, like, the rest was a lot of priest and shaman and warlock, and I'm like, dang it, like, the plan was to beat up on all the rogues. What the heck?
Where'd they go?
Where did they go? But, like, then so many warlocks, too. Because I guess, I mean, at the time, so I have 18% other warlocks. So everybody saw your list, and
This is
okay. Let's do that.
Let's do that thing. So then we were just like, who can get the giants out quicker? Tap.
Well said. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, we are running up against a little bit of a time wall over here because we've got a listener series match coming up pretty soon. So kind of want to wrap it up. I could talk about this all night, but any other thoughts on this deck before we kind of move on? Aside from it's super fun.
I appreciate the opportunity to share my love with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing.
I love Even Warlock. I mean, if I have two things that I love in Hearthstone, it's paying 1 mana to spend 2 life and draw a card, and then playing big freaking giants. Let's go.
Yeah. I like it too.
I love it. Love it. Very cool. Okay, so let us move on then. We're wrapping up the show, but we actually going to rely on Unrotted to make a little bit of a tiebreaker here.
I like ties.
For us. So, yeah, Hydra, can you tell us about this weekly challenge? It's quite fun.
Yeah, so each week we end up coming up with a listener challenge, and a lot of the times it's, hey, like, make this big weapon or do this certain win condition. This time, Nate actually had the idea of a custom card building challenge. And so we decided that we wanted to do this with, you had to, 2 conditions. It had to be a dormant card, and it had to be a legendary card. And so we had a whole bunch of submissions for this challenge, and we were going to narrow it down to 3, which we're going to present to Rod. There were, I think we had 30 or so, and we really do appreciate all of the submissions.
Oh, I love
awesome.
it. Like, this is, we were commenting that, like, we haven't received this many submissions for a contest in ages, and it's amazing. And there's so many that are so fun that, like, we're going to have to do more of these because we just got so much participation, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm going to read 3 of them off that we have put into our top 3. So Nate, I'm going to start with the Rungok Massive Jellyfish.
Thing.
And so that's the Colossal, which is a 5/8 that says at the start of your turn, if you don't control Rungok's tendrils, summon them. And then Rungok's tendrils states, rush, any minion damaged by this goes dormant until Rungok, Massive Jellyfish, leaves the board. So this thing spawns this 1/1. Whenever it attacks, it turns something dormant, right? So
it's pretty rad.
Until you've actually killed the Colossal, like you're kind of hooped, right?
I pretty much. I love this card. We had so many. It was so hard to narrow it down, by the way.
And that's a neutral Colossal, by the way. I will read the next one, which I little special place in my heart for this one. This one is Zuborn Bot.
Ooh.
So this is a 5 mana 4/5 with the battle cry.
Wait, sorry. Let me just give credit where it's due, real quick, to the Rungok. I want to just give a little shout out here to let me find it. Hold on. This was submitted by Raygun in Discord. So Rungok's Tendril and Rungok Massive Jellyfish. All right, and then sorry, I didn't mean to run you over there. Zuborn Bot was submitted by Naya.
Oh, this is by Naya. Okay, so yeah, Zuborn Bot is the 5 mana 4/5 mech. Battlecry, summon up to 10 mana worth of beasts from your deck. They are dormant for 2 turns. I mean, that's pretty good, and plus the artwork is pretty stellar here. I don't know what to say. And then we've got another one. Nate, who submitted this Jaina card that we have upcoming?
No. No.
This is from MacGyver.
Oh, MacGyver. Oh, well, there's also a special place in my heart for MacGyver. What a great TV show. All right, so.
Wow.
Hey, come on. Colonel Jack O'Neill, did you guys not watch Stargate SG-1? All right, so 5 mana, Mage Legendary, Jaina YOLO Queen. All right, this is a 5 mana 8/8, starts dormant after you cast 5 spells, awaken. Cast all spells from your deck with random targets. This is an insane card. This is absolutely insane. 5 mana 8/8, dormant. You now need to cast 5. How easy is it for a mage to cast 5 spells? Right?
Not that easy, yeah.
Right? It's pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty hard. And then when you finally get to do that, it's gonna cast, just all the spells in your deck.
Yeah. I'm sure there aren't any Dragonfire amulets in there, puzzle boxes, Root of the Archmage. I'm sure there's nothing in there.
Right? Like sorry.
You know what's interesting though?
Like,
crazy. You'd have to have now. It's 5 mana 8/8 is crazy, right? But it just starts dormant.
Oh.
This isn't even like a quest line reward. 5 mana 8/8. This is just in your.
You would have to though. You'd have to have a mix of like small spells and big spells so that you could actually like do this.
Yes,
but
very true.
This is gnarly. The idea of it is just absolutely bananas.
You could make it so you're trying to discover small spells, right? Instead of wasting,
Gasu, worse stats than the darkness, definitely balanced.
This literally breaks the game, I think.
This is one that you play on one of those tavern brawls.
I was just about to suggest that, yeah. This is incredible. I want this as a tavern brawl.
That would be wonderful.
Oh.
All right. Well. What do you think? These were the three that we narrowed it down to. Which, if you get to be the tiebreaker.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to vote against this one just for the sheer audacity of the submission. I do really kind of like the. I mean, it won't get. I don't know if it'll get much love, but that Beast Bot is an interesting one. Like, sort of, was that a neutral legendary?
Yeah.
It was, yes.
Yeah, it's like neutral beast synergies. Like, okay,
and
fun.
Well, and this was actually.
Yeah.
I balanced is not nearly the right word, but there's some variety here where it says summon up to 10 mana worth of beast from your deck. So that could be,
Just
it could be a
bring out
bunch
King
of
Crush.
it could be one, it could be one minion or two,
Yeah.
or it could be a bunch of little 1/1s. I mean, it's interesting that there's some
And board space concerns too.
yeah, and there's some variation with this. It's interesting. Or it's just
really
a King Crush, yeah.
Yeah. Or just one big old crush.
You could like do some weirdness where you've dire frenzied a bunch of boars, something like that.
No, well said. Really well said. That
And then you pull.
That sounds
pull-
dangerous.
Yeah, I like this more now that I just thought of that.
I wish, you know what? How cool would it be to come up with like a client where we could play with custom cards, right? Yeah, right. You could use
box mode, like use map settings in StarCraft. I don't know why we don't have this in Hearthstone. It would be so fun.
create custom cards and play with them. Zuborn, someone, who is it? Skelefire in chat says you could summon the jellyfish with it. You can play this and the Rungok pops out. I love it.
Oh, that's great. All right, so where do we think we're at here?
What do you think, Rotted?
About what?
Wait, which you've got the tiebreaker. You said is your pick the Zuborn Bot, or what were you thinking?
I'm gonna go with the Zooborn Bot. I think it's cute, and I think it isn't like going to break the game so irrevocably that you'll never be able to do anything else again.
I think Jaina was a little over the line. I think. I love Jaina.
Would love to see it in a.
Yeah.
Oh god, like you said, I would love to see it in a tavern brawl or something. That'd be amazing.
Just so.
Well, very cool. Then we will call this the winner. The Zuborn Bot is tonight's winner. This was Naya, right? Let me just scroll up and double check. This is Naya. So congrats to Naya, winner of this week's weekly challenge with your submission of Zuborn Bot. And then for this coming week's challenge, I think we had so much fun with the custom cards that we were talking about doing it again. But maybe the idea of something that could fit into like an Even Warlock deck. I don't know if there's any other restrictions that we want to impose, any or suggestions. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think personally the best inclusion into an Even Warlock deck obviously can't be too crazy, right? As Rotted stated. Can go over the line, right?
I mean, why not? Just
Well,
send it.
But I think there's some beauty in trying to have like an interesting custom card that's not so broken that, like, of course, we want the 0 mana 30/30 charge, but that's not quite what we're looking for. It's just creativity, but also something that would be fun. But I want to see something in particular that would go into an Even Warlock deck.
That could be a lot of fun. Give me the goods. I want to see the goods.
Right? I mean, we could leave it. We could leave it just custom Hearthstone card has to be an even mana cost, with the idea that it's going to go into an Even Warlock deck. So we want it to have synergy with this type of deck that we've been talking about tonight.
Yeah, and instead of legendary, how about we do something we can have a 2 of?
Sure. Non-legendary, we say.
Yeah, non-legendary, Warlock specific Evenlock card.
Yeah, that's great. And I don't care. Could be a spell, could be a weapon, could be a hero card, could be a minion. Doesn't really matter. Could be
a weapon.
Hey, you never know. I mean, But ideally something to balance. I mean, I'm not looking for a 4 mana 20 attack weapon, like something realistic that would go and have some synergy in a deck like this.
So if you would like to be able to contribute to this and have a submission, you can use hearthcards.net. We will link the link in the chat here. It's also in our show notes. We can put it in the Discord under our weekly challenges section. If you would like to actually, submit something for this, post it in our Discord under the weekly challenges channel. The winner will be announced on next week's show and will receive 2 Hearthstone packs on us and will be immortalized in the Hall of Fame on the Born to Be Wild website. So we're looking forward to seeing what everyone would like to submit. So anybody can participate in this. Just follow the link and post your card.
Very cool.
Actually participate. This seems really cool.
Hey, right, it'd be fun, and actually some really good feedback from our players here that this type of thing is a lot easier for people to participate in, because not only does you don't have to have the cards, but it you don't have to attempt some like near impossible challenge. So this lets people be creative without putting it behind a paywall or a something that's so time consuming that it's next to impossible to do. So I like that. We're trying to be more inclusive and have more fun, and I think this checks both of those boxes. So it makes me very happy. Rock and roll, everybody. Well, hey, all good things must come to an end, unfortunately, and it is about that time for us. On a positive note, for anyone that wants to stick around, we're about to cast a listener series match. Again, it's going to be week 1 challenge of Dr. BOMD versus Schmoopy Daddy with some crazy challenges here. It's really excited to check that out. For those of you listening to the audio version, swing on over to our website or to our YouTube, and you can watch the replay over there. That is about it. Hey, Rotted, thank you again so much for hanging out with us tonight, and really appreciate it. Before you go, is there anyone you want to give any shout outs to your friends over at Amberflight Gaming or Tempo Storm, or any links that you want to share, your socials? I shouldn't say socials, I mean your social media. Your socials, yeah, and the last 4 digits of your credit card number and your mom's maiden name.
Wow, Nate, just getting right at it. I know where you live, somewhere in this area near me.
I was gonna say, we could have done this in person.
I know, right? Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's good to see you guys again. I'm very happy to be here. If you guys out in listener land or on Twitch right now want to find me, at therottedzombie on just about any social platform. In terms of my affiliations, I'm always happy to have you guys read our Tempo Storm Wild Hearthstone Meta Snapshot. Next one will be out next week. We're working on it right now, so I can't wait to share it with you. And otherwise, yes, check out Amber Flight Gaming on all the different platforms. Just Google them, you'll find them. They're an absolutely wonderful team, and they've been so supportive, and I'm happy to continue being a part of it.
Lovely. They're wonderful, and if
Dawn's just the best.
Dragon Rider is amazing.
I agree 100%. And if we find out that there is a wig, a Naga wig, or whatever it's called, that priest card, that we'll have to loop back on that, because I want to see that. Very, very cool, everybody. Well, thank y'all again for joining us. That wraps up this week's show. For more wild content or to see where you can find us individually, please check us out online at our website, borntobewildhs.com. And we will see you next time for another new episode of
Born to Be Wild. You smell like a leper gnome.
Yeah, that's
I was not expecting that.
Wow! That was a lot of things in there.
I couldn't help myself.
This is what happens when more than one person has a soundboard.
Just everyone gets a sound. But it was you. It was absolutely you.
Oh dear.
Job's done.